Welcome back to another episode of the Be the Change podcast. I'm so excited to have my friend Bailey here on the episode today. Bailey, before we get started, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry?
Sure. Yes, my name is Bailey. My husband's name is Tim, and we met in Denver, Colorado, and we have just planted our roots here over the last 10 plus years. And we have 3 kiddos. Their ages are 9, 6, and 4. And so it's been a very busy season and one that I feel like I'm really enjoying. It's been so fun. I was going to say, you have a lot of siblings too. So I feel like you
Yes.
have that full house experience, and it is just, a really sweet time. And I also have the opportunity to get to chat about female friendship and what it looks like for women to pursue friends with good research and God's word, and allowing that to help them discern and walk into friendships with a lot of wisdom versus maybe what the world says about friendship. I've been writing and speaking on that topic for quite some time. I started right around, I always base it off of my oldest son's age because I started right after he was born. And so that's been just so fun. What a fun ministry to have to talk about the joys of friendship. So I feel really blessed to be able to get to chat specifically about this topic with other women.
Yeah. I can just definitely agree to that. I think friendships, obviously, they're such a fundamental part of our lives, but especially as teenagers, you're just constantly surrounded with your peers. You're at school with them, and then you're playing sports, and then you're hanging out on the weekends. And so it's good to kind of dive into it and be like, okay, am I having healthy friendships? Are these mature? Are they pouring back into me? Are they life-giving? Because it really does kind of set the stage for the rest of your life, knowing how you make friends and how you keep them and how you work through conflict. These are skills that you get to develop while you're young. So kind of just jumping in, when I read your book, which I loved, it was very good. One of the things that really stuck out to me was how you started talking about how our friendships start with what we believe about ourselves and our identity. That was something I had never heard about before. I've read a lot of books about friendship and had done a lot of research about it myself, but that was something that was very new to me, and really just jumped off the page. So just for a Christian teenager, how does their relationship with God just directly impact their ability to be a good friend and choose healthy friends?
Yes, the relationship that you have with the Lord is the most secure and unchanging friendship you're going to have. And as you go through the ups and downs and the bumps and bruises of friendship that have probably are happening, will happen, continue to happen, just because you reach a certain age, you don't suddenly overcome, I think, some of the insecurities that come with friendship. And so to root yourself in your relationship with the Lord and allowing His unconditional love and also acceptance feed into how you show up as a friend it's honestly everything. Whenever I'm coaching others in friendship, specifically those who don't have a grounding of faith, it's really hard to pull from nothing, if that makes
Right.
sense, to step into places where friends are going to make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes, to be able to continue to be a good friend. Yes, you really need to have this foundation of, I am loved by the Lord. I can rest in my identity as a child of God. And so making some big risks in friendship or having those disappointments feel just a tiny bit less painful or hurtful or shaking up who you are, because you know who you are. So I just think that friendship is honestly, it is tumultuous, and you really need a solid God to stand on when things are tough.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that came to my mind was without our identity in Christ, who are we? Will we be defined by our sin? We would be defined by all of our mistakes. But since our identity is in Christ, we know that we can ask for forgiveness from our friends when we have done something wrong, and know that we're forgiven. We don't have to hold on to that guilt or that shame. And I just think that a lot of times insecurity can be one of the biggest barriers to making friendships, especially as teenagers. There's a lot of low self esteem issues that go on in kind of
Mm.
an earlier teenage years. But yeah, what's a practical step that teenagers can use to build confidence to reach out to new friends?
Yes. And right before I answer that, I also wanted to just say that when you don't have your identity, you also allow your friends to define your value.
Mm,
And that's, again, so scary because then you are going to make choices and decisions in ways that, like, you think are going to please your friends or in ways that you think, like, you can keep up with what they expect of you or what they need of you. And again, it's just not a good place to have to, like, start a friendship and being like, I need to do this, I need to be this way so that they'll accept me and like me. You need to like yourself, and you need to
mhm.
do that by finding how much God likes you. And so I just wanted to put that out there because I do think there is this element of not just going through the hard things, but also like really finding that identity so you don't allow your friends to um, place your value on you because again, that's so fickle.
Yeah.
But if you are like, I want to step into friendship and I'm scared, there is a lot of insecurity in that. It's kind of almost like asking someone out for a date. Like it's really scary to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I would say honestly, it's practicing. I know this sounds so silly, but for any of my internal processors out there, I'm an internal processor. I have to journal. I have to write it out. So
Mhm.
don't think that that is a silly practice to do. Like, how are you going to get better at writing papers? Like, you're going to sit down and have to like go through it and write and
Right.
read and do the research and anything you do. If there's a sport you're playing, like, you have to practice that to feel confident about stepping onto like a field or a tennis court. And so, in the same way, like write it out, say it out in your bedroom. Like, and I mean, you could even like, practice it alone or with a family member. And that might sound so cheesy. It just depends on like where your comfort level is. And then you
Mhm.
just have to practice it in real life.
Yeah.
And so that's honestly, anytime people are asking me, like, what's that first step? I'm like, you just have to say hi and have a couple of questions in your back pocket so that you feel more confident stepping into a spontaneous conversation. I
Mm.
know that can be really scary, especially when teens are on their phone a lot. They have some minutes to think about how they'll respond
Mhm.
in real life conversation. You're like, okay, I'm here and I'm talking. So have 3 questions that you use every time that you're like, okay, I feel really good about these 3. I've got them memorized. So after I say hello, I know like what questions I'll turn to. So those are just some confident boosters or
Yeah,
confidence
that's
boosters.
Yeah, that's great. What would you say are some ideas for those questions? Because we have a very large church. There's a lot of new people all the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
always feel so awkward when I'm meeting new people. I'm like, hey, look, what's your name? Where do you go to school? Or, and then it's just like, okay. Because like if they're quiet people, then it's like, I don't know what to say. So what are some
Yeah.
examples there?
One thing is I like to ask people their observations. So if I was you and I saw someone new to our church, I would ask something like, what do you notice about this church that's different from the one that you were attending before? Or you
Mm,
might say, what do you think about this movie? How does it compare to this other movie that you saw? So kind of asking a little bit of them to like have them pull out a little bit more of like, what do you think about this? You're not asking anything directly
mhm,
about them, but you're just kind of like, yeah, what do you think about this event? Or why did you decide to come today? Like, why did you decide to choose this like youth group or this sport to try out for? So just kind of asking them a little bit about the observations of the things of like, yeah, why they're here, what do they think about it? I think are always really good places to start. It's a little bit better than just like, how are things and how are you today? Getting them to talk about something specific.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, what would you say about like friendship filters? Like, how can
Hmm.
teens just begin to discern like what's a true godly lasting friendship look like? Like, what are those qualities in people versus people that aren't going to be very good friends?
Yeah. As I thought about this question, I was actually thinking about one of my best friends that I met when we were in kindergarten, but we became best friends in the 7th grade. And I was not a Christian at the time. I had like we'd been attending the same church, and I had like tried youth group a couple times. And then this was just someone at our school, and I would say and she would probably say, like, she wasn't popular, she wasn't super athletic, or like she was just like kind of blended in with everyone else. And yet at the same time, I saw that there was just this light about her, and there was
Mm,
this content and this peace. And again, it's that confidence, that Christ-centered confidence that as a middle schooler I was so attracted to. I was like,
mm,
what is it,
mhm,
like, what is she doing? How can she hold herself and carry herself like this? Someone who is, like, I think respectable to the community. And I know I'm just like saying things that anybody could be, but as I got to know her more, it really was her faith that set her
mhm.
apart.
Yeah.
And this is a friendship that, I don't know, how old are we? Like, 29 years later, like, we're still good friends. And this is a friendship that has been able to withstand the transitions of life because we
Mhm,
share the same faith.
mhm,
And so when I think about those filters, I think if you just want to really simplify it, I would look for people who are giving life to other people. And
mm,
so they aren't critical, they don't gossip, they are not looking to put others down to make themselves feel better.
mhm,
Um, they really are people who are just like, I don't know, they have the joy of lifting others up, of speaking good about other people, and being really confident in the gifts that they have and what they can offer, so that then they can, like, celebrate other people's gifts too. I feel like that is really someone that you are looking for. They are breathing life into every room that they walk
mm,
into, because God is coming with them through the door. And I think you'll know it when you see it. And you'll also really feel it when you don't see it.
mm.
I think that there's a lot of darkness in friend circles that are more critical and competitive. And when you find yourself in relationships and in circles that you don't feel that, there's more of a, like, a celebration tone. Those are the ones that I think you can really grab onto.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can remember friendships I had in middle school. Most of them were not very healthy. They were definitely believers, following the Lord, but just baby Christians and just very immature and still working through a lot of things. And there was just a lot of negativity, a lot of gossip, a lot of drama. And then, in I think my freshman year of high school, we kind of switched circles and went to a different church, and just it was a completely different environment for me. Like most of the girls there loved the Lord and were very mature and were pursuing Him passionately, but we're also very conscious about building each other up and just very positive people to be around. And I started noticing like the way I viewed friendships and the way my friendships looked like were just so much different. Like I don't think before that I had ever experienced what a true life-giving friendship looked like. Because before it was like, oh, gossip is just like normal. But then I was like, wait, this is actually wrong. Like, we're not supposed to gossip. We're supposed to like lift each other up and use our words to bless others because that's what scripture teaches. And so just, yeah, like looking for people that are life-giving, that are building each other up. Those are definitely very good things. But yeah,
Mhm.
so obviously with every friendship comes challenges. And so what do you think are some of the most common things that causes people to back off in friendships or maybe distance themselves? And how can that just be overcome?
Hmm. I think that we want to push people away when we either, like, like, we feel a hurt by them, or a slight, like, we really feel like they have ignored us, so we're like, I'm gonna ignore them back, or I'm gonna, like, choose to withdraw, instead of, like, leaning into a situation.
Mhm.
And I also think that distance can come with, again, just kind of, this sounds so silly, but kind of like social laziness. I think that people just don't like the work it takes to, like, be a good
Mm,
friend. And
yeah.
so they just choose to do things, I don't know, I'm like, either by themselves, or they're just like, I'm not gonna, I don't know, I don't want to text this person. Like, I don't really want to make the effort to spend time with this person. And it's not personal. It's just truly, like, it's just kind of, um, it's just a muscle that hasn't been
Mhm.
worked. And so they're like, I can't do it. And so maybe it's not even something that they're actively think that they're choosing, but without even knowing it, they're like letting their friendship muscle um, grow weaker. And so, yeah, it's hard to get it back. So Sorry, I'm like trying to remember the rest of your question, but yes, for people like distancing, I do think those are some things that are hard, and to like push through it, it really takes, again, I'm like coming back to the Lord versus working from your own energy. You really need like the Spirit's energy to invest, pursue, initiate, all those things. It takes a lot of brain work, a lot of I don't know, time work, and at the same time, I think in the season of life where you are in school and you're with people all the time and you have activities together and you are practicing for, your musical together or choir or, quiz bowl or all those different things. I think sometimes, yeah, I think looking for people who maybe you're on the outskirts and inviting them in can be another way just to kind of challenge yourself to continue to to lean into more relationships and growing relationships you might not even have expected versus versus pushing people away.
Mm. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. So kind of going along those lines, I think another thing that a lot of times causes people to walk away in friendships is conflict. Like it could
Mm.
be just something as easy as, oh, you have a difference of opinion of this topic that was important to you, or maybe they
Mm.
did something personally that hurt your feelings or hurt someone else around you. So first off, like, how do we know when it's the right time to address this and have those like confrontation conversations versus like, okay, this is just something we need to like let go and like give to the
Mm.
Lord and forgive in our own hearts. So like, how can you tell the difference between that?
Mm. That's a really great question. A part of me wants to like respond and say that in some ways, like you should almost address anything that feels kind of off in a friendship. So meaning maybe you said something and you like knew you shouldn't have said it and that it probably hurt their feelings. And instead of just letting it go and having the person maybe like, I don't know, be standoffish for a couple days, but then you're like back together and it's fine. I almost think instead you do say something and you say it sooner than later. So you might even say later, an hour later, while you're together, like, hey, I think I said that thing and I kind of regret it. um, you know, did it hurt your feelings? Or like, maybe it did hurt your feelings and I'm really sorry. And, just kind of like wanting to address it and talk about it. I honestly think that's almost better. It's better than just like letting it
Mhm.
kind of like passively go away or have it still exist, but it's now this weird thing hanging on your friendship that you don't feel good about. So usually it's something that you're like, this just doesn't feel like good, whether you are the person who has done the wrong or the wrong has been done to you.
Mhm.
You're just like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. And I don't feel like I can trust this person. If I want to continue to be in a relationship that I can trust, then okay, I might need to say something. I'm trying to think of things that you could let go. I think there are things, you're right. Like when someone has a different opinion than you, I can give you a really funny example, but we were talking about, with some friends, we were randomly talking about Ryan Reynolds, the actor. And I was just
Mhm.
like, I just do not like this person. This was like years ago. And my friends were like, this is the best actor I've ever seen or something. And I just kind of went hard on just being like, he's so terrible. And I felt like there was like just a moment of awkwardness. And yet at the same time, like we're all good friends. Like it just didn't
Mhm.
really matter. I don't know. There's things like that where I'm like, oh, okay, I probably shouldn't have gone as um, like on the attack about something that didn't matter. And at the same
Mhm.
time, it was not something that needed to be addressed. So maybe something else you can think about is, are you getting in conflict over something that has to do like with the friendship or with the person themselves versus just like, I don't know, things that are not substantial and that your friendship can survive a disagreement through.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One of the things that I've heard before is like try not to react to one-offs versus like
Mm.
repeated patterns. So like maybe your friend snapped at you because she was having a really hard week and she's normally the most
Mhm.
loving, gracious person, but you know she had some family things going on, then like, okay, it probably we just need to let that go. But if it's like a repeated, she's not a loving person, she's treating you wrong, then it might need to be like, hey, we need to sit down and we need to talk about this because I'm unsure that this friendship needs to continue if we can't work through whatever this is. Or one of the things I think personally I've experienced, and I'm sure is probably a very common thing in friendships, is feeling like you're always the one that's initiating things.
Mhm.
I'm definitely the planner in friendships, like, that's my gift in just all different
Mhm.
spheres of life, like, I plan everything out, and so I'm the one that, like, texts my friends on Sundays. I'm like, "Hey, what does your week look like? Like, what would you wanna do to hang out?" And then I feel like a lot
Mhm.
of times it isn't returned, and
Mhm.
so those are definitely conversations because there are some people that maybe they don't have that mental capacity to think through their week like that, but then there's
Right.
other friendships that, like, those really close ones, then if
Mhm.
you start to notice some distance there and they're not reaching out as much, then that might be like a conversation worth having with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like what you said about the repeated behavior versus just like the one-off things that you're just like, I know this isn't who this person is.
Mhm.
I think that's really good. And I liked your example too, because yes, I feel like can be conflict around being like, why am I the only person initiating this conversation? And you totally have the right to say, this is a two-way friendship. Like, what would it look
Mhm.
like for us to meet in the middle?
Mhm.
And to even give your friend an opportunity to say, like, this is really hard for me. This is not a skill I have. I'm so grateful that you initiate all the time. I need to say thank you more often. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
anytime there's conflict, I'm always like, communication is the best
Mhm.
thing. Like, if you
Yes.
just talk
Yes.
about it, it's the scariest thing, but
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
just talk about it, there's so much healing in just being clear with each other,
Mhm.
and making space for that. So I guess when
Yeah.
I'm, like, kind of going back to that conversation of people, like, withdrawing, I think that it's so easy to just withdraw and be like, "I guess this friendship is not
Mhm.
working for me," or, "Let me just avoid this person from now on because I'm too scared to have the conversation." And when really, like, when you have the conversation, so much growth and health and honestly life can come out of that conversation. I think every time I've chosen to do the conversation, like, something good does come out of it. And not good as in like we stayed best friends, but like that there was actual clarity to be able to like move forward.
Mhm.
Um, and that's all we want. We don't want to be stuck in these like ambivalent like conflict situations with our friends. Like, we really do want to
Right.
move forward, and whether the outcome is what we desire or not.
Mhm. For sure. Yeah, one of the things that came to my mind just now was, like, the enemy wants to come in and breed lies in the dark because, like, let's say you do have a friend and you're pretty close with her, but then she stops reaching out to hang out, and you decide not to communicate it. Well, then likely the enemy is gonna come in and be like, "Oh, she doesn't wanna spend time with you anymore." Or,
Mm-hmm.
"You saw her the other day posting on social media hanging out with so and so. I bet she was the one that reached out to them. She loves you or she loves that person more than you." And have all these, like, misconceptions, and then the more that they replay in your mind, the more they become truth until you get to the point that you're believing, "Oh, yep, she doesn't love me. She doesn't wanna hang out." And then you start to distance yourself when in reality, like, maybe she's just not a very coordinated person. Like, this happened with,
Mm-hmm.
one of my best friends, and we had a conversation about it, and she was like, "I am so unorganized. Like, I literally will be driving in my car and be like, 'Oh, I wanna hang out with Lila,' and then I just forget to text you, and it's not because I don't love you or I don't wanna hang out, I'm just not I'm not as much of a planner as you are, and every
Mm-hmm.
time we reach out, she's like, 'Yes, let's do it. Like, thank you so much for reaching out.'" Like, some people are just wired differently. Like, that's how God
Yeah.
made them, and they have other gifts that we don't. Like, this particular friend, like, she's the first one, like, to encourage me when I'm having a hard day. Like, she's definitely, her spiritual gift is exhortation. Like, I can see it clearly all over her. And so just looking at those good gifts, but yeah, like, don't let lies from the enemy breed in the dark. Like, bring them to the light, talk to God about them, and then just keep open communication. Like, I don't think it should be this like once a year or twice a year. I remember having a hard conversation with this friend. Like, no, I don't think we should like make it as big of a deal, just like with a friend or a mentor or someone you're discipling, like on a regular basis. Just keep an open communication about those things. It's so
Mm-hmm.
important. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
when we have been like hurt by friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they know we've been hurt, and there's just this open like not confusion, what's the word? Like, maybe anger, frustration towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does biblical reconciliation look like?
Yeah. I was just reading today about just the mercy of God, and specifically in Luke 6. Is Luke 6 where he talks about, or I'm like, maybe it's Matthew, where he says specifically about, how many times should we forgive? And he's like,
Mhm. Yeah.
70 times 7. And I've just been reflecting on that today because I really do think that like biblical reconciliation is having mercy for that person. It is having compassion and ultimately like forgiveness for the sin that has taken place in that friendship. And also like owning your peace and giving a chance for that person to also own what they have. Um, I do believe that that is just like the most important thing, because our mercy to others is tied to God's mercy for us. And we know that his mercies are new every single morning. Like he has such an abundance of love and he is like slow to anger and he's so like patient with us. And so because we've received that, I think we really can ask for his help in being slow to like being frustrated or believe those lies about our friends,
Mhm.
and being really patient to want to understand where they're coming from. And so I do believe it is so beautiful when you get to have a conversation. And by the way, that conversation might take months or years to come about. I've had a few different friendship conflicts that I had to work through personally, all by myself, because that person had kind of shut the door on the friendship. And to come around like months later and have that person be like, you know what, I actually like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for like what I have done. And I'm sorry for the way I acted. Like we aren't going to be friends, but at the same time, I want you to know that like I see your side now and I am like sorry for what I've done. And I
Mm.
think that I don't know, again, every time that has happened, I'm always like, Lord, you are so good because I didn't deserve that apology and yet you like opened the door and you made the right time at the right place for that apology to happen and like you healed something in me when it did. And at the same time, for all the times that that has not happened and the person has not, we've not had a reconciling conversation, like I still hold those wounds and I like carry that grief with me.
Mhm.
And it's something
Mhm.
I still have to bring to the Lord years later.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I just don't want people to think that, like, yes, I do think that reconciling and having like that mercy, forgiveness, um, shared conversation, like those things are such beautiful steps. And I think probably more often than not, like you won't get to make it to those steps. And to know that it's okay that you wrestle with God over it for a while and for a long time. And I do believe that he can redeem those broken situations and those unfinished conversations. But it might take time. And that's something I still carry and walk with
Mhm. Yeah.
myself. So yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, definitely. What's a blueprint for kinda going about having those kind of harder confrontation conversations?
hmm I would say like contacting the friend, but being really
Mhm.
specific about why you're getting together. Like you never want to ambush anybody. And
Right.
so saying ahead of time, hey, I'd really like to connect on this date, because I'd like to address the fact that like we kind of stopped talking to each other. Like it felt like some things were different between us, or I'd really loved, or not love, but like I'd like to get together because I think there's some things that you've said to me that have like really hurt my feelings lately, and I'd like a chance for us to like talk through it. So be specific about what you're going to talk
Mhm.
about. Cover it in prayer, like blanket it in
Yes.
so much prayer before you go in. I think really also armoring yourself with like the armor of God and just like really kind of saying like, Lord, I want to protect my mind and my heart and like what I believe about myself and about this person, Lord, and instead see them as someone who's like loved by you versus like the
Mm.
things that I'm
Yeah,
feeling.
for sure.
Um, and then the third, as you come in, is I think, again, just like being really clear and honest. Again, if you're that person who needs to take notes, bring your notes with you.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't want to forget what I want to really say to this person, but asking again for their side, making space for them to share.
Mhm.
I think not being offended by what they might say. So come with being like, I probably did something. So I think if they mention the things that you've done wrong, like not being surprised by that, but instead being like prepared to humbly receive those words and apologize just like you're hoping that you'll apologize for you. And of course, treat people like you want to be treated, like speak as kindly as you can, listen, and when you leave those conversations, I think it's okay to ask what's our next step is it taking more time to pray and let's talk again in a couple weeks? Is it to reinitiate friendship? And you can even be like, do we want to start meeting again together? Like, or hanging out, or, sitting together at lunch, or, whatever that might look like, joining
Mhm.
the same Bible study again.
Yeah.
Or when you're asking those questions of like, what's next? If it really is drawing a blank and you both like don't see a future, being like, okay, I don't see that for us. Like, I wish it was different. And yet at this point, I don't like that. I don't see like a future of us being friends. And so like, I hope the best for you, and kind
Yeah.
of leaving it at that too.
Yeah, you're right. You really do have to set boundaries because if you're not clear about them, then people can begin to just like walk all over you. Like I've heard it said before, like boundaries are like a fence. Like you can open the door and you can close the door. Like things can still come in and out. It's not like you're being a mean person, but you are the gatekeeper and you get to
Mm-hmm.
choose what specifically is coming in and going out. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I think those are definitely very wise principles to live by. Kind of switching gears a little bit, just talking about loneliness. I know that obviously there are so many teenagers and adults too that struggle with this. So what, like, just speaking to the lonely teenager, what would you just say to them?
Mm. I would say put your phone away.
Yeah.
I don't know. They probably like nobody wants to hear that, but
That's true.
there
Yeah.
is too much research out there that like it's not helping. It's not helping.
Mhm.
And there is this woman, her name's Sherry Turkle. She specifically focuses on research that's based between technology and relationships.
Mm.
And she did a study specifically around like mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health, and studied people who were like using social media versus those who are not, and how
Right.
it affected then like those specific areas of their lives. And I think that social media like helped move the needle 0.05% of your overall like health and joy in your life. Like it's
Yeah, for
just
sure.
so it's such a insignificant number of contribution to your friendships for such a significant cost.
For sure.
Um
Yeah.
and that's why I'm just like, just you have to push through it. Like, you have to push past it to truly like encourage your friends to put it away, so that you can be present with people and that you can enjoy kind of like being a kid again, if that makes sense. And I know we're talking to high schoolers here, but like I remember being in high school and truly just enjoying, like we'd go to a playground and we would just like
Mhm.
mess
Yeah.
around and talk and like drink our Sonic slushies and just like be
Mhm.
really there in the moment. Those things were so fun. Or we'd then like make up a game of like flashlight tag, or I'm trying to think, like sardines. Like we just come up with stuff. And it
Mhm.
was just like that was so sweet and rich. And like I did grow up in a childhood where we didn't have social media on our phones. We had phones, but no social media or no internet. And so
Mhm.
I just think that not you have don't have to go to the old days. Like, enjoy the things that, like, I don't know, technology has done that provides good things to our life, but you gotta just, how do I put this? Like, technology is not the evil, like people are evil, and like we're
Yeah.
sinful. And so you have to check
Mhm.
yourself. So if you're feeling
Mm.
lonely, just check. Like, am I spending too much time on my phone? Am I looking down too much? Am I not making conversation with the person in the desk next to me, or at lunchtime, or after school, or like, on the weekends? Like, am I really trying to just like have a conversation with someone and like trying to just like make up our own fun again?
Mm.
And so yeah, when you're feeling lonely, it probably is a trigger that you need to reach out to somebody. It's not because something is wrong with you. It's like a God-given emotion or feeling that you can change. Like, you can turn it around.
For sure.
Um, and so, as someone who's like dealt with severe loneliness and it like turned into like a minor depression, like, yeah, like, I mean,
Mm.
those things are so, so real.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want people to know that you're like probably not alone in feeling lonely.
Mhm.
And it just takes reaching out to the person next to you who also is probably hoping somebody reaches out to them.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, kind of wrapping up here. What's like the single most important truth, or just one truth? Because I'm sure there's a lot you could share here, but just speaking to a teenager, that you would just want them to remember and to take away from this episode about friendship.
Hmm. I would want them to know that they are so worthy of good friendship, of quality friendship.
Mm.
Like, you have not missed your moment. You're not falling behind, that there is always a second chance to make new friendships. Um, I really believe that. I even think about my fourth grader. Like, if I was speaking to him, and especially as you start to feel like, oh, everybody's got friends but me, or they figured it out and I didn't figure it out yet, or like I'm left behind because I'm not where everybody else seems to be, of just being like, no, you're so worthy of friendship, and God has friends out there for you. Like, he
Yeah.
did not place you to like not have friends. So that would be my encouragement, is just to remember how loved you are and how worthy you are of friendship, and how like there are friends out there for you.
One of the things also that I loved about your book was a lot of at the end of the chapters you talked about like a fun friendship date idea or just different things. Like a lot of them were very creative and like things I haven't thought about before. So if you would just like to share a couple that you feel like resonate with teenagers.
Yes. Okay, here's one that I have for you. Um are teenagers listening to podcasts at all?
Oh yes, for sure.
Okay. It's like, this is like the new book club. Like, I don't know if teenagers want to read all the time. But I feel like podcasts, of like choosing a very simple podcast. It's 30 minutes long. It can be something, I don't know, on like a new idea you've never thought about before, or I don't know, a sports podcast, a show podcast, but basically being like, hey everyone, like listen to this podcast episode, and then we're gonna like get together, hang out, have food, and talk about it. So I feel like that's a really fun one to do, as
Yeah.
well as getting into a competition show. This sounds so silly, but I remember in high school there was a dance show. Oh, what was it called? But it was like a dance competition show. And so every week we would go over to somebody's house and watch it. And it was so fun. And I think about that with like Dancing with the Stars or The
Yeah.
Voice or something, there's things out there. There's a lot of competition shows actually. So
Yeah.
I feel like just picking one and like getting excited about it, and I don't know, dressing up for it, and yeah, having themed snacks if you want to. So I feel like those little things are so fun. Really, you're just looking for reasons to get together, and it doesn't really matter what the reason is. I remember in high school, we would do like letter parties. So, like, pick a letter of the alphabet, and then you'd have to like play games that start with that letter, eat food that starts with that letter, wear the color that starts with that letter. And so, again, it was just like something to do. Besides just, I guess, like maybe hanging out.
Yeah.
So those are just like some ideas.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I love the podcast idea. I could definitely see my friends going for that, so I'll have to ask them about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we wrap up here, would you like to pray us out?
I'd love to. And Lord, I'm so thankful for just the space to get to chat about friendships. Lord, I know what a sensitive topic this can be, because we all carry our own personal hurts and moments where we feel shame about past friendship experiences. And also, we carry some real joys and excitement and enthusiasm for some of our friends that we have today. But Lord, you see us, you know deep down in our hearts all the spaces that we feel like we're not enough, or we're not good enough for friends, or are we even like loved and accepted by friends? Father, we know that you love us, like you accept us. You have so much joy around us, Lord. You like us, and you also know that we need connection, and you know that we need some good friends. And so, Lord, we trust, and we can wait patiently for those specific friends if we're in a season of just feeling like, yeah, we could really use a new friend. I pray that you allow us to like wait on your timing, God, but also be initiators, be people who invite and gather and say hello first. And also, Lord, I just pray for those of you who are walking in a season of abundance where you're like, I love my friends. This is such a fun time. And I feel so grateful for them, Lord. I pray that you just continue to strengthen those friendships, that they point each other to you, Father, that they can grow closer to you and know you better, Lord. And just, again, we thank you for the good gift of friends that you bring us. Allowing us to share the love that you have for us with other people is so fun, Lord. And I pray that we can walk in knowing like what a friend you are to us, so we can be that friend to others. In your name, amen.
Mm, amen. Well, difference makers, it's that time again. It's time to go and be the change that we desire to see in our communities. Thank you for listening to another episode. I look forward to seeing you again on the show next month. Until then, make sure to follow me on Instagram so that you can be the first to know when new content is released.